So imagine this for a second. You've just landed your absolute dream job over in Europe, or maybe you're finally planning that romantic destination wedding you've always talked about. You're super excited, you're ready to pack your bags, and then, bam, you hit a massive bureaucratic wall. The foreign government tells you they need an apostille on your Maryland birth certificate or your university diploma, and you're probably thinking, what on earth does that even mean? Well, don't panic. Today we're diving into this explainer to completely demystify the exact steps for getting a Maryland apostille for your international documents. We're going to turn what feels like a stressful hurdle into a really simple, manageable process.
Here's our quick game plan for today. We'll start with an introduction to apostilles, then cover Maryland document requirements, walk through the step-by-step process, highlight some common pitfalls and solutions, look at real-world document use cases, and finally, wrap up with some practical resources and next steps.
All right, let's jump right into Section 1, an introduction to apostilles. Like we said, if you're working, studying, or marrying abroad, your official Maryland documents actually need a special international passport of their own just to be legally recognized. Think about it from their perspective. A foreign government can't just look at a random piece of paper from Maryland and instantly know if the signature on it is real or forged, right? They need a verified, globally recognized standard of proof. And that standard of proof is exactly what an apostille is. Born out of the 1961 Hague Convention, it's essentially an international VIP seal of approval. It completely abolishes the need for all those complex, multi-layered embassy legalizations between participating nations. Physically, it's just a separate page, which is technically called an allonge, and it gets attached to your document by a staple. It literally bears the Great Seal of the State of Maryland and the Secretary of State's signature. And having this proves to any of the over 90 Hague member countries that your document is 100% authentic.
Okay, moving right along to Section 2, Maryland Document Requirements.
So what exactly can you get authenticated? The Maryland Secretary of State actually handles a surprisingly diverse range of qualifying public, private, and corporate documents. Whether you're submitting a high school transcript, some corporate power of attorney, or your marriage certificate, as long as it originated right there in Maryland, it can be authenticated. But, and this is a big but, they have to be formatted perfectly. For example, school records absolutely must be official copies from the registrar and properly notarized.
Now, here's a crucial, absolutely vital detail you cannot overlook. Vital records require specific, authorized hand signatures to even be accepted. If you've got an older birth certificate sitting in a dusty shoebox somewhere and it's signed by a different official, they will flat out reject it. You have to obtain a current, certified copy bearing the signature of Julia E. Davidson Randall, Geneva G. Sparks, or the current state registrar Crystal D. Weaver before you even think about starting the authentication process. When it comes to bureaucracy, the details are quite literally everything.
Which brings us to Section 3, the step-by-step process.
For private documents like your transcripts or affidavits, there is a very strict three-step pipeline you've got to follow. First up, a commissioned Maryland notary verifies your identity and your signature. Second, the circuit court steps in to verify that the notary is, in fact, a legally commissioned notary in good standing. And finally, Step 3, the Secretary of State verifies the circuit court's certification and applies that ultimate apostille seal. Think of it like a chain of trust, where each official is essentially vouching for the person who signed right before them.
But hey, here's a really fantastic shortcut. If your document is officially issued by the state or the county with an authorized seal already on it, so things like a court-issued birth certificate, a death certificate, or a divorce decree, you actually get to skip the line and jump straight to Step 3. There is absolutely no notary or circuit court required. You can march those documents directly into the Secretary of State's office in Annapolis.
Let's talk about where things go wrong in Section 4, Pitfalls and Solutions.
Here is a major trap people fall into. You absolutely must verify if your destination country is a member of the Hague Convention. Otherwise, an apostille alone just won't be enough. If you're moving to a Hague country, say Spain or Japan, the Maryland apostille is the end of the road. You're done. But if you're going to a non-Hague country, you need what's called standard authentication. And that means after Maryland signs off, you literally have to take that same paperwork all the way to the U.S. State Department in Washington, D.C., and then to the destination country's embassy. So please, always check your destination country's status before you start.
Oh, and nothing hurts quite like wasting a whole trip to Annapolis. A really common mistake is someone getting a diploma notarized in, say, Montgomery County, and then driving straight to the Secretary of State. They will reject it at the desk. They need the Montgomery County Circuit Court clerk to authenticate that specific notary first.
Always, always look at the county stamped on your notary's seal. That is the exact county courthouse you have to visit before you can head to the state capitol. Also, keep in mind that the Maryland Secretary of State can only authenticate documents originating within the state of Maryland. Got federal paperwork? Maryland literally can't help you. If you need an apostille for an FBI criminal background check or some naturalization papers, those have to go straight up to the federal level at the U.S. Department of State's Office of Authentications.
All right, moving into Section 5, Document Use Cases.
Let's ground this process in some real-world situations. Say you're applying for dual citizenship over in Italy. Their government is going to meticulously check the apostille on your vital records, like your birth and marriage certificates, to make sure you are who you say you are. Or imagine you run a Maryland company and you're opening a brand new branch in Asia. Your articles of incorporation and certificates of good standing are going to need this exact same authentication process to prove to foreign regulators that your business is legally registered to operate on a global scale.
Finally, let's wrap things up in Section 6, Resources and Next Steps.
You want some good news? The statutory fee charged by the Maryland Secretary of State is incredibly affordable. We're talking just $5 per document certification. If you're mailing your documents in, you pay this by a U.S. check or money order made out to the Secretary of State. If you're walking right into the Annapolis office, you can just swipe a credit or debit card. Just keep in mind, this $5 is separate from whatever small fees your local notary and your county circuit court might charge you earlier in the process.
If you are planning to visit the certification desk in Annapolis in person, pay close attention to their hours. They are located at 16 Francis Street in the Winland Building, but they are only open to the public from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., Monday through Friday, so you absolutely have to be an early bird. But the major perk of showing up, walk-ins get same-day processing. You can literally leave with your apostille in hand that very same morning, though they do enforce a strict limit of 15 documents per customer per day. If you mail it in, expect about a 1-week turnaround.
Now sure, you can do all this yourself for $5 at the state level, but you totally have the option to pay a premium for third-party expediters if you're just really short on time. These professional services will literally drive to your house, notarize the document, run it over to the correct county court, drive all the way to Annapolis for you, and then FedEx the finished apostille back to your door. It is a fantastic, stress-free solution if you happen to be out of state right now, or you just can't take a random Tuesday off work to navigate government buildings. Fees for this kind of VIP service usually start around $175 plus shipping.
To wrap this all up, while this explainer provides some really solid general guidance, government rules can, and often do, shift around, so always make sure to confirm the current requirements directly with the state, and definitely seek professional legal advice for your specific international situation if you need to. But hopefully, with this roadmap in hand, that bureaucratic maze shouldn't stand in your way anymore. You have the knowledge to get those documents authenticated. So, I guess the only question left for you is, where in the world is your next big adventure going to take you?